Happy Monday. The Tigers are 3-1. It wasn't pretty, but a win is a win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Abby Alonzo. Welcome to Valley Vision. Joe Mitchell behind the screen. We're going to break down that win over Arkansas that we were expecting it to go a little bit different. We're glad we got a dub, but there were some concerns at the beginning of that one. We'll break that down. We'll also break down some volleyball, soccer, women's basketball is about to kick up practice. Kim Mulkey had a presser today. We're going to talk about all of that. We did do a vlog this weekend. It was way different from the first vlog we did. We started at Fred's, which was like a game time decision. They had the game day steaks, which were chef's kiss, so good. Shout out to Fred's for the steaks. And then we headed to walk-ons. Then we made it to campus. Then turned around, made it back to walk-ons, back to Fred's. Met a lot of people along the way. Got some really great content. So that will be up maybe in a day or two, hopefully. Again, we have so much content coming at y'all. We got to schedule it all out and figure out how to edit everything. But that vlog was a good one. Joe came this time. Joe had fun. Right, Joe?
I had a blast. It was such a good time.
Yeah, he got some great content too. We did lose the mic. I'm gonna call you out for that one. That nice mic that y'all are gonna see in the vlog, it's gone. No clue. Fred's, if you find it, maybe shoot it back our way. If not, we'll get another one. It's fine. Joe's looking like it was definitely you.
You're calling me out. I seem to remember the last place the mic was your back pocket. But yeah, I'll take the blame if you want me to.
That's hilarious because we're gonna get into the game part of this, but it was in my back pocket.
Thank you.
And
we can end it right there.
No, we're not, because I went to grab it and you said, "No, I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. I got it. It's in the backpack." Was it in the backpack? It was not in the backpack. Anyway, you can also see next to me that I have this really cool Valley Vision hat. That being said, we've got Valley Vision merch. How freaking cool. I will be wearing that hopefully for the next game day vlog. You guys can get it too. We've got shirts, hoodies, bucket hats, socks, all kinds of stuff. So if you want to support us or just like the merch, feel free to hit us on the website, culturemediala.com. There's a Valley Vision tab there. Mikey does some great work with all of the merch here for all of the shows. So go check it out, get you some gear. All right, let's talk that football game. We were sitting at walk-ons watching it, and I think it took us by surprise when Arkansas went up 3-0 and then 6-0. And remember, the spread was 17.5.
Yeah.
And we talked to a lot of people that day that were like, yeah, they're going to cover. They're going to cover. And that's not what happened at all. Jayden Daniels got off to a slow start. He had a pick in, the first quarter?
Yeah.
Completions were off. It wasn't looking good. Now, I do want to say Jayden Daniels is SEC Player of the Week because even though he got off to a slow start, he was able to make those adjustments and fix it, figure out what he needed to do to get back into a rhythm, and then finish it. He went 20 for 29, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, and that one pick. But even Brian Kelly said today, to be able to make the adjustments in real time, it didn't take a whole game and then a week of practice to be like, this is where I could have been better. This is what I should have done. He did it in real time during the game. He was able to turn things around, which I think speaks to Jayden Daniels as a quarterback and the maturity that he's grown from last season, even to 4 games in this season, because that's not what you saw against Florida State.
Right.
Thoughts on the offense this past game?
Yeah, I was expecting our offense to come out firing a lot stronger, a lot smoother off the rip. You said you were surprised to see us go down 3-0 and then 6-0. To me, the more surprising thing, I didn't think that was crazy. Arkansas is a team that is good offensively. KJ Jefferson's a good quarterback. They have athletes on that team. I was more so surprised to see as the clock was ticking down in the second quarter, it was 14-3. That was, for me, at that point, after not making an adjustment and not seeing the change in the game, I was like, ooh, this is not great.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got it togetger, and I didn't think we were going to cover the spread, to be honest with you.
No, we said that on Friday. We straight up said 17.5 is a lot. They're going to put up a fight, and they did. This is a rivalry game.
Yeah.
But yes, I think the first half, you were dwindling down. And again, Coach Kelly talked about that. You know, you're about to go into the half 14-3 with 48 seconds left. They score, they have halftime, they come back, they score. So it speaks to the team's perseverance and the resiliency. Those are the words he used today, that you didn't see that in week one. So this team is coming along in a sense of learning how to fight. And this was the first win they've gotten where they had to make a comeback. Like they were down and they had to fight back to secure a win. You didn't see that against Grambling. You didn't see that against Mississippi State because they never felt the deficit. They never went down early in the game. But yes, slightly concerning as to why we were even in the situation of it being 14-3 with 48 seconds left in the half. That is what it is. I don't think it's detrimental to the team. In fact, I think it showed a different side of the team that we kind of were looking to see. Because yeah, it's all nice to have the team go up and kick the shit out of an opponent, but that's not always going to be the case. And especially in a rivalry game, you're going to have other teams. Like Arkansas fought. We knew they weren't going to lay it down. Even before the game, there were some tensions. I know there were guys on the sidelines, like for LSU, like mouthing the words to set it off towards Arkansas's sideline. So like, it's the fun rivalry stuff, but you couldn't have expected Arkansas just to come in and like, they're better than us, we're going to let it go. You saw a side to LSU that you want to see. It kind of makes you feel good that, hey, they are capable of fighting back when we're down or when things aren't pretty to begin with. We still have hope that things can turn around. I will say Malik Nabers continued on with what he's been doing. And Brian Thomas, 2 touchdowns, kind of started to get things going for himself. We haven't seen too much of him throughout the first 3 weeks. You saw him here and there, but nowhere near what we've seen from Malik Nabers, and that's because the matchups that Nabers is getting, and I know this is straight from Brian Kelly's mouth, are favorable matchups. So, of course, he's going to get the ball more. You're going to see more yards from him, more receptions. But Brian Thomas, I mean, he had 133 yards on 5 receptions. So, long, deep balls, nice. 2 touchdowns from him, 2 from Malik, and even Logan Diggs. Now, remember when we previewed this, we talked about Arkansas having one of the best rush defenses in the SEC, or the best in the SEC, I think 5th best in the country. That has since changed, but you've got Logan Diggs on 14 carries, locking in 97 yards. No touchdown, but he's averaging 6.9 yards per carry. Yeah. Facing one of the best rush defenses. This opens up the offense. So now, yes, Jayden is getting comfortable. He's able to throw down the field. He's hesitating less. You're seeing the connection with not only Malik Nabers now, but Brian Thomas is getting involved. And now you've got the run game going in a game that we thought, hey, we might not see too much of it because Arkansas's rush D is good. I think you saw a lot in this. You learned a lot in this game, I'll say that, from the offense, but also from the defense. They had 4 sacks coming from all over the place. There wasn't just one guy like wreaking havoc. It was Greg Penn, Harold Perkins, Deshaun Womack, Mekhi Wingo, Andre Sam, Whit Weeks. Everybody kind of got a little piece of the pie there, and then they had 2 interceptions from Andre Sam and Zy Alexander. You still need to see more from the defense. They were misreading some things or just not seeing certain plays the way that they should have seen it, specifically in pass coverage. But they were tested. And this was a big part of Kelly's presser today. And he kept hammering on a couple things, but this being one of them. The fight that we saw from the defense is promising. They need to focus on doing the little things right and doing their job. I know he said it's like they're trying to do too much. They're trying to chase plays to make plays that really aren't their plays to make. So, and it goes back to it being a lot of young guys, a lot of new guys still trying to feel out the chemistry and like the trust of letting your teammate do their job. You do your job, focus on the little things, you do the little things right, and everything will come across the board. They've been working on that. He said that's something they're going to continue to work on. But, I mean, he came back to what I've been saying. You like to see the fight that the defense specifically showed when they were tested. And that's not something you've necessarily seen because remember in week 1, we were all astonished at the fact that it looked like LSU just laid down and then got bullied in the second half. So to see 3 weeks later after 2 big wins that really didn't test what they were capable of, they were able to come out and fix things from week one and say, hey, yeah, we know we're down. We know there are things we need to fix. We're going to fight through this. We're going to come out on top. And they did just that. So self-inflicted wounds, of course, things to fix still, but a good little test that fell in LSU's favor, and makes me feel better about moving forward because, again, it's nice to win by a lot, but now we know that down the road when we're tested and when there's a hard matchup and when you're down, they are capable of coming back and fixing things in real time. You look like you have a lot to say. I know you have a lot to say, so go ahead with your game analysis, Joe.
I actually didn't have a lot to say.
I can. Wow. I know you can. You can. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So one, I think it's very promising to see how they were able to bounce back, the adjustments they were able to make, and then take control of the game again. Defense played well at the goal line, especially late in the game. But I don't want to. I've seen a lot of people over the weekend, specifically last week, talking about how Arkansas lost to BYU, and then after the game saying LSU is not as good as we expected. We literally dropped in the polls. I think Arkansas is a better team than they're getting credit for. I think they're right there in the mix with LSU, went right down to the wire, obviously. But I think with what we saw out of Ole Miss and Alabama, neither one of them really looked great in that game. Alabama ended up winning, but neither team looked elite. Texas A&M's another team. They got a big win over Auburn. So I think Arkansas is right there in the mix with 4 or 5 teams in the SEC West, and LSU got an impressive win.
It kind of aggravates me sometimes when we come out and we're like, oh, we're not as good as we thought, or, oh, this team, like, give them credit. 1, it's early in the season. You can't make any assumptions right now. 2, this year specifically, I mean, it's all over the place. You're seeing upsets and just teams that you thought were great aren't being as great, or teams that you didn't give enough credit are coming out on top. Like, it's early. Let's not, like, give credit where it's due. Take a look at Arkansas because they're not a bad team. I think you're right. They're right there in the mix, and it can go either way. So this doesn't make LSU any less good. That's not a term, but that's what I'm going to say. It doesn't make them worse. That's the word I was looking for. Go. It doesn't make them worse, and I don't think it makes Arkansas better. I think people aren't looking at it like in the big picture thing, kind of, you know what I mean? In the grand scheme of college football right now, I think you didn't give Arkansas enough credit. Yeah,
I think a lot of LSU fans, and this isn't a shot at LSU fans by any means, but I think a lot of LSU fans neglect to look at the scope of college football, and they're just very LSU-centric, which is okay if you're an LSU fan. But when you do that, you miss out on what the rest of the field is doing and how Arkansas matched up against even BYU, and that was a rough loss, but how they matched up against BYU, how they matched up against LSU, and what they'll do the remainder of the year. Like I think there's some foreshadowing to how their game with A&M or Auburn or Ole Miss or Bama could go. And I think some of them are going to go very similarly to how they did Saturday against LSU.
Yeah. And look, LSU's got Ole Miss next weekend. I thought Ole Miss might upset Bama. They didn't, but that's not a team to be taken lightly either. I think it came at good timing to be able to see the fight from LSU this week as we're about to go face Ole Miss and Mizzou and Florida the next week, or Auburn? It's Florida, I think. Yeah. Tough little lineup here on the road too for the next 2 weeks. So being able to exemplify the perseverance, the resiliency, hey, we can fight back, is perfect timing going into this week.
And for those fans that are very LSU-centric and could expect LSU Ole Miss to be a good game, I do expect it to be a good game. Mm-hmm. But if you're not up to date on how good Missouri has been playing this year, you should expect that one to be a good game too.
I told somebody that yesterday. I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about the schedule, and they kind of skipped over Missouri, and I was like, maybe don't do that. That's another game that looks like it's not one of the big, games that as a fan you look forward to if you're out there tailgating, but that's going to probably be a good game that you shouldn't overlook. We'll preview the Ole Miss game on Friday. Again, as we do every Friday, we'll have Bryce Kuhn back in here. He's going to keep joining us to look at that game and the X's and O's of it. But we won't get ahead of ourselves. We'll take the win. Like I said, not very pretty, but a win is a win. On the other front of LSU football news, Greg Brooks, we got a little bit of an update from Brian Kelly today. He said he's making the progress in recovery, but he needs rest. And I think he was kind of referring to, there's a lot of talk about when he's going to come back. Is he going to come back? That kind of thing. And I think the priority right now needs to be rest. Make sure he is doing that. He's getting the rest that the doctors are saying he needs to get, and kind of putting him on the back burner. Like, hey man, like, I know you want to get back out there. This is serious. Like, let's make sure you're 100% before. So that's good news. When we have more news, we'll make sure y'all know about it, which is exactly why you should subscribe to the show. I came up with the goal. I don't even know if I told you this. We're going to try to get to at least 100 subscribers by the time we have the next home game. So we got 2 weeks to get to 100. I don't think that's a crazy ask. I think, we need about 42 more. So do your part, hit the sub button. We'll keep making great content, making merch, heading out to campus to get tailgate vlogs and stuff, but we need the support and we do appreciate it. So please hit the sub button, like it, share it, comment. If you disagree with something I said, please let me know in the comment section. I love to hear from y'all. Volleyball did play this weekend. Volleyball was on the road. They had their SEC opener versus Kentucky. They did drop that SEC opener. So in the SEC 0-1, total 5-6 on the season. They lost 3-1. So they really fought in that first set, locked it in, and then dropped the next 3. LSU reached double figures in blocks for the second time this season, but Kentucky just out-hit them 33-65 to 135. So just outplayed. It happens. Again, the opener of SEC play, kind of gearing things, facing the real competition and seeing how you flesh out against the rest of the SEC. Jurnee Robinson, who we drop her name on this show damn near every time. She's really good, in case you didn't know. She had 13 kills and 5 blocks. She'll be in shop tomorrow doing an interview with Anthony Renato on the Up and In show. So we're going to get some really cool insight from the freshman who is absolutely killing the game, leading LSU Volleyball, really stepping into a very prominent, powerful role for that team. She's going to be in here tomorrow to basically tell everybody who she is and what LSU Volleyball looks like this season. They will continue their season on Friday in the PMAC against Mizzou. So we'll see how that fares, but make sure to tune in to that interview with Jurnee Robinson tomorrow. Soccer played this weekend as well, and they too dropped their SEC opener, but turned around and ended up evening out the record with a win over Georgia, and now they are 2-1 in SEC play with a win over Mississippi State. This was another game that they were down and had to make a comeback. In the Georgia game, they were down until 20 minutes left in the game, and were able to lock in 3 goals to come out with a win. They did something similar over the weekend. So it's the second consecutive comeback win, if that's what you want to call it. Molly Swift had the tying goal, and then Molly Baker had a huge, beautiful assist to set up Sage Glover for the game winner. I know Coach Hudson was ecstatic with the way that the girls played. A couple weeks ago, she had talked about how they need to get out to a faster start. They haven't quite figured out how to get that going yet, but they've made up for it in each of the past 2 games by these efforts to win the game. I know that Coach Hudson said that this versus the Georgia game was more controlled. It was a cleaner, more disciplined game. So they're making progress. Not only are they getting wins, but they're making progress towards hopefully being able to play the full game, not coming out of the gate slow. They are now 7-3-1 and 2-1 in SEC play, and they've moved to 3rd place in the SEC West behind Arkansas and Ole Miss. And Ole Miss was the team they lost to in their season opener. They will continue on Friday as well against, I'm not quite sure. Do you remember who they play on Friday? Florida. So they'll play Florida on Friday, hoping to up the ante here and go 3-1 in the SEC. Women's basketball hasn't started playing yet, but they do start practice. And Kim Mulkey addressed the media today, talking about where this team stands and where they could be going. Now, of course, there's a lot of pressure on, can you do it again? Can you go back to back and get another title in your 3rd year and second consecutive title. Malky said, like, she did it as a player, but she hasn't done it yet as a coach. And there's obviously a lot of pressure because now everybody's gunning for you. You've got a target on your back. They're going to play harder against you. But the roster we've got here, I mean, has leveled up since last season, and you won the title last season. You've got Haley Van Lith. You've got some crazy recruits coming in here, and they're all pumped. Malky brought up a good point of, like, half of this team has rings. The other half came here to get one. So, again, yeah, you've got a title, but not everybody on the team has a title, and they damn sure want one. You're joining a team, and you're playing under a coach that could get you there as well, and you're going to be playing alongside people like Angel Reese, Flau'jae Johnson. It could happen. The pressure's there, but it could happen. So they do start up practice this week. Of course, all eyes on this team. They have changed the game for women's college basketball, not just on LSU's campus, but across the country. Angel Reese was mocked in the ESPN's WNBA mock draft to go number 8 overall. And I know that's been a big motivation for her. She, per Kim Mulkey, is much more comfortable with her leadership role than she was last year because she just got kind of thrown into it last year. It just kind of happened. She got picked up on the media, and then all of a sudden Angel Reese is like a huge face in college women's basketball. So she feels a little bit more comfortable in her role as a leader on the team. She's got the extra motivation of, hey, she could be drafted pretty high. Lots of things going on. And Mulkey also weighed in on the fact that, you know, she gets a lot of credit for all the media stuff, but she doesn't get all the media and the NIL stuff without how hard she plays on the court. So don't forget to give her that credit. You know, she got to be the star that she is because of how she played on the court and the personality she brought to the game. So don't undermine Angel Reese's hard work there. We will round out with Tiger T, as we always do. On Friday, Shaquille O'Neal took over an elementary school in Houston as principal for the day. And if you're wondering why, there was a reason behind it. He partnered with the My Eye Doctor in promotion for raising awareness on eye health and safety because there is a solar eclipse on October 14th. And Shaq weighed in on why this was so important to him and why he's really partaking in promoting eye health and safety. Quote, he said, "I was one of those kids that I could read, but I couldn't really see. It made it seem like I couldn't read, so I didn't have a lot of confidence. I know there's at least one kid who can't really see and doesn't have the confidence to say anything about it, so they just sit back and not do anything because I was that kid." And he's got a point that you're young, you can't see, you think something's wrong, but you don't say anything or you don't even know anything's wrong. So for him to be using his platform to go help with an issue that doesn't get too much awareness, it does, but not nearly as much as it probably should, is really cool to see. Again, using your platform, another former LSU athlete who had a great professional career but is still continuing to do work in the community is something we're proud to see always, you know. We'll round out again, Bucked Up. If you like to go to the gym, if you need some pre-workout creatine supplements, I've got a code for you. It's ValleyVision20. You get 20% off at checkout. I use it. I know a couple of my friends use it. If you're not into supplements, then hey, deal with it. Go try it. It's pretty good. But yeah, ValleyVision20 for 20% off at checkout. We appreciate y'all for watching. We will be back on Friday with a preview of the Ole Miss LSU football game in Oxford with Bryce Kuhn from 24/7 Sports. We appreciate y'all. We will see y'all soon.